Well, so it's going to be a sad game to watch for you to see him kick the crap out of you.
Oh, he's gonna go off. I'd have to imagine. No,
You think so?
I mean, even though it's not really necessarily like a huge game. I mean, because there's only one bye this year, every
Right.
team is playing for that bye. So you look at a team like Tampa, who Evans is still banged up, Fournette's banged up.
I think Evans out. Evans is out this week, I think.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So they need as much rest as possible. So they want the bye. So they're going to play each week as if they're trying to, hope that the Packers slip up
Superbowl.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they want that bye. They don't want to go to Green Bay with these guys coming off hamstrings and shoulder injuries and arm injuries and foot injuries and stuff like that. You don't want to go up to Green Bay with that.
No. I don't want to go to Green Bay anyway, but
no, I mean, I'm just saying. And the Chiefs are going to do the same thing, and so are every team, the Packers. Every team is going to play all the way through all 17. Makes it a little interesting when it's this close and there's only the one bye.
Right. I got it. Number one, I don't want to go to Green Bay, even though I love cheese, but I think that's fun. This year is so fun because there's so much parity that we're still playing. You got teams who are 7-7 still playing for something. Okay, they no longer get 7-7, but 7-8, and they're still in the running for a playoff spot.
Listen, it's funny, but you go through the games, and there are some games that are completely useless. But there's only a couple of them. Most of them have meaning. So when you look at this week's games, right? Okay, and it's all a Sunday, Monday slate. So no Thursday, no Saturday. It's just the whole because New Year's Day is college football day,
right?
And half those games get canceled by COVID anyway, so it's fun. But they don't like to compete with the college game. So
by the way, you got to hand it to the Pinstripe Bowl. Maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people in the stands for a shitty game,
and it was really crappy, mostly because Maryland crushed Virginia Tech 54-10. So I mean, even if you did show up, unless you're one of the parents, which is probably most of them,
right?
Why in the world would you stay at a 54-10 game? You just wouldn't.
Yeah, and the weather was crap. It wasn't like it was a nice day out.
No, the sun never peered out at all. It was just gray the whole day. And you're seeing all these games getting canceled because of COVID. And the CDC is nice. They decided, based on no science whatsoever, to cut the amount of time you have to be away from 10 days to 5 days because they want everyone to go back to work. And that's cool. Listen, I don't care.
Listen, I think it's amazing that, the doctors and nurses who were our heroes get fired because they refuse to get the shot. And now people who have COVID get to go back to work even sooner because there are enough people to take care of everybody.
Times People of the Year, the medical workers get canned because they don't want to get the shot because they've already had it and they don't feel like they want to take the extra risk. And for the most part, I don't know if it was like a non-pro vaccine feel as much as we already had it. We worked through this.
Right.
We were sick and we're better and we're ready to go and whatever. I mean, it just can't even explain the way we are with this. But all the games have been, there's so many games that are always in jeopardy. And you watched last week. I mean, you didn't know if Hill or Kelsey were going to play. Hill ended up playing. Kelsey did not, just on a big team. But it happens all over the league with so many superstar players they can't get out on the field. I was watching. I liked the Cardinals last week, and it was one of the first weeks in a while that I was off on my picks. I like the Cardinals against the Colts. Colts had 4 of their offensive linemen out. Well, 3 started the game, and the 4th one left in the first quarter. And you're like, 2 of them were based on COVID, and they still found a way to win. By the way, Taylor still had 100 yards. I mean, it's just, and that was with a whole backup offensive line. But you don't know what you're going to get out there. Now, if they're playing in a cold weather, nastier physical team than the Cardinals are, maybe those offensive linemen don't get those holes broke. Opened up for Taylor.
Right.
But Taylor's such a gifted running back, he's going to put up the yards anyway. It was like when everybody knew that Earl Campbell was going to get the ball, or Walter Payton. He just,
I just need one more week. One more week from you.
Well, I'm hoping he has a tough week against a rated defense that's also a good matchup for you.
Yeah.
I have David Montgomery in a nice matchup against the Giants. You have the Raiders with Taylor. I think your edge is a little bit better.
Well, at least there anyway. So,
in a lot of spots.
Speaking about how things are done to accommodate whatever you need, quickly before we get into the games for the week, Kyrie, we don't want you with the team. You're a distraction. Now all of a sudden he's not.
Yeah, now he's going to have the opportunity to play 22 games. He can't play any home games, and he can't play up in Canada. And I don't think he can play at Washington, D.C., so he can't play the Wizards.
And they don't need him for the Wizards, so.
But he can play other road games and practice with the team somehow. So whatever.
I don't understand the whole practice with the team. If you can't play in the arena, why can you practice in a facility that's 2 miles away?
It truly couldn't make less sense. And to Kyrie's credit, he's not an anti-vaxxer, but he doesn't feel that his human rights should be infringed upon, so he refuses to do it. And he stuck with it and lost money. Bradley Beal did it for all the way up to this point, and now he just got vaccinated this week because they told him he wouldn't be able to play anymore, and he decided to do it. I mean, listen, these guys, it's big decisions. Aaron Rodgers, they're still coming after him for what he did.
Right.
You're villainized if you don't agree with the with what the Dr. Fauci, the genius, says. So you have to, So now it's just weird that the Nets are allowed to practice this guy, play him on the road. He can't play any home games. I have no idea what's going to happen. It just doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
But the NBA is up and running. It has been, I think, pretty much. But now Kyrie's back. Yeah, the NHL started back up 2 days ago also. So we had NHL back. We just don't have baseball yet.
No baseball. In February 20th, maybe we'll see baseball.
Yeah, college basketball has been, a lot of games have been suspended. League play starts, conference play starts like basically this week, and a couple of those games have been canceled already. And you look at certain conferences where they can't get it going. It's going to be tough because they're making them make up the games. So now these kids are going to have to play 3 or 4 games in a week when they normally would play 2. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. I mean, it's going to be a lot of travel that they're not used to.
It's pretty amazing though. Somehow, some way, Ron Freed finds a game to go to.
He was at the Stony Brook Farmingdale game. Yes, asked me to go with him, but I could not make it.
I had to do my hair that day.
I was with the girls, but yes, I mean, nonetheless, be that as it may, if they'll let me into the arena, I'll go to one of the games. I don't mind going to a Stony Brook game. And for you, it's really convenient, actually.
I've got no interest.
You have no interest in going, but it's 5 minutes away.
Yeah,
well, you're such a good basketball player. You're a known hoopster.
Dude, my wrist shot from the point, unbelievable. I put it right through the uprights. It's awesome.
There's no one better.
No one better. So anyway,
let's talk football.
Football.
Okay, so almost every game has meaning this week, except maybe like the Giants, Bears, and a couple of others.
The Giant Bears does have meaning because if we get a tie, we're right head and head for that. For the draft picks and stuff like that. Right now, the Giants are picking 5th. The Bears are picking 8th, or the Giants are picking 8th with the Bears pick. I don't think I want the Giants. If I get a tie, I'd be extremely happy.
But in the scheme of the playoffs, the Giant-Bear game means nothing.
Means nothing.
The Falcons are still technically in the hunt at 7-8.
Yeah.
They play the Bills this week in Buffalo. Going to be in the low 30s and maybe chance of snow. So that'll be interesting. Giants Bears also play at 1. Games in Chicago. It's going to be in the high 20s apparently.
Oh, look at that!
With a chance of snow. So we'll see what happens there.
At least you pray for snow. At least it'll be a little fun to watch.
Chiefs Bengals probably one of the big games of the weekend.
Yeah, that one we kind of touched on already, but man, that's just an awesome game. Cincinnati 9-6. They need these games because their conference is so close that they need this game a lot more than Kansas City.
If the Chiefs have won the division already,
right?
But the Chiefs are playing for the 1 seed, so they're going to come out and play.
Right.
The Bengals, on the other hand, they're in an interesting predicament, right? If they lose this game, right? Now Pittsburgh and Cleveland play on Monday night. All right. Say Cleveland wins. They're the favorite. Just giving the favorite the odd.
Okay. Cleveland wins.
Okay. Cincinnati would then play Cleveland the following week. And if the Ravens happen to lose to the Rams this week, that would be for the division. As bad as Baker has been, the game would be in Cleveland and it would be for the division. So it's so important for Cincinnati
to win
this game. And if Pittsburgh wins, then it's the same scenario. Cincinnati would still have to beat Cleveland next week in order to really clinch the division because Pittsburgh could win this week and against Cleveland, and then win their Week 17 game also against Baltimore. So and Baltimore could win it because Baltimore beats the Rams this week. They're right there. I mean, so it's like, and even if they don't, they could still be in it. That division is going to be won by somebody that's going to finish 10-7, 9-8,
right,
or 9-7-1, or whatever it is with the Steelers, who tied the Lions, and they must be kicking themselves.
Here you go. Hand the ball off to Chubb and hope for the best because you don't want the ball in Baker's hands.
Oh, he's awful.
Yeah, that was just awful watching the game. What was it, Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or whatever the hell it was? What did they play? They played Saturday, didn't they? They played the Packers on Saturday, I believe it was. Okay.
Yes. And the Packers did everything in their power to leave him in it.
Right.
But Baker he's just not very good.
You know what? Here's another one that's going to be interesting because it's a big game for, Miami and Tennessee. In Tennessee, Tennessee is the favorite by 3.5 points at home. They're 10-5. Miami 8-7. But Miami, what is it? 8 in a row they've wheeled off?
They have been nonstop. They started off 1-7. Now they're 9-7. I mean, you don't watch them and feel great about them, but at the same time, they find a way to win these games. And defensively, they're playing great.
That's it. Defense has been winning.
And Tua, does complete a high percentage of his passes.
Yeah, you know what? But I've never seen a guy who throws the ball higher. He's like a punter.
Yeah, he throws a lot of lollipops, and they're perfectly placed. Got to give him that. Raiders Colts, huge game this week.
Yeah,
now, I know everybody's like, oh, the Colts are like they're in the playoffs, this, that, but they're only 9-6. If they lose to the Raiders at home, who are 8-7 and need this game desperately as well,
right?
You don't expect the Raiders to be able to beat the Colts, but you don't know,
right?
Derek Carr is still capable of putting up numbers. I mean, they don't have great receiving, but they're good. Jags Pats. The Jags have nothing to play for except that hopefully getting that first pick from the Lions. But the Patriots, they were everybody's darling 1 seed. Now they're 9-6, right? So,
right.
So now they lose. You don't expect them to lose at home to the Jags. But if they ever did, the playoffs are no guarantee for them. And they have to go on the road with a rookie quarterback.
15.5 is the spread for that game.
Exactly. And there's a lot of high spreads this week.
Yeah, well.
Speaking of high spreads, Jets Bucks. Brady
Wow.
comes in. He's got no receivers really except for Antonio Brown, who came back with a vengeance last week.
Right.
And
well, they needed him.
And they have Gronk, and they have, the tight ends, Brait, and they have OJ Howard, and they have, some kid I'd never heard of that caught some balls. And the guy I picked up, Tyler Johnson, didn't get targeted once. But, I didn't play him, but they didn't target him. But there's another high spread. The Jets obviously playing for draft picks, and the Bucks are playing for the 1 seed. So they're going to try.
And the Jets got 14 of their points by a long run by Zach Wilson and a special teams. After that, they still can't move the ball.
They won, and they tried to lose, but they didn't.
They tried to lose. They
tried
to lose.
Yeah, Dolphins Titans. You mentioned this game.
Yeah.
Titans need it desperately too. It's 10-5, it's 10-6, 9-7 against each other. Dolphins last year should have made the playoffs, and then they blew the last game of the season.
Right.
They end the season with the Patriots. So if they happen to lose this game, they could easily finish, 8-9.
And out of the picture.
So they because the Patriots are going to need that game the last week as well. Because the Dolphins have the tiebreaker on the Patriots. Got to remember that. Dolphins beat them week 1. And then they lost 7 straight. And now they won 8 straight or 7 straight, whatever it is, to get back to 8-7. Mm-hmm. So that's a huge game. And the Titans have been without Derrick Henry, they are a pedestrian team, to put it mildly.
If that.
I mean, AJ Brown's a great receiver, and but their defense is good, not great.
But
and
when
Tannehill's not the same player without having that dominant running back.
Right, because you know what's going to happen. Tannehill's got to beat you, and Tannehill really can't beat many people.
He can't beat you if you know he's throwing it. He can beat you off play action. He's accurate. He's good. He can use his legs. He can do a lot of things. He's just not a dominant thrower of the football. My daughter's trying to break into the room. She's going to break the door down.
Again?
She doesn't like it when I'm left alone.
She doesn't want you to be sad. Now,
absolutely.
This game means absolutely nothing, but yet it's still so important, especially for you. Detroit against Seattle.
The game means absolutely